Hey everybody, I am here doing another video. In today's video, I decided to do this topic because I'm sitting in the parking lot right now waiting for my kids to get out of tennis. And the parking lot has always been a source of anxiety for my kids, my son especially. The noises, and you never know where the cars are coming from, and people flying through or backing up and blowing horns and those hover around things, which when he was younger, we unfortunately saw this one lady bump and hit another woman and her fall over. So he's been kind of traumatized about that for a while too. So it's just a difficult place, but something that has had to be addressed and navigated. So first and foremost, when having two children with autism and then a child that is 2 years old, so of a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, had to develop a system of rules and drill it into them. So there's a moment before we get out, what are the rules, guys? Because I want them to constantly think. And if you know anything about children with autism, they are very repetitive. A lot of them very repetitive, and that's how they absorb information, is a lot of repetition. And that's how for themselves, how they absorb information also, not just you doing it, but themselves, and they kind of drill these things over and over in their head. So it helps if you do it as well. I'm looking out because I'm waiting for my kids to get out of tennis. So one of our first rules that we discuss before we get out of the car, like I told you, we always ask, what is the rules? We have to stay together, stay visible. And when, let's say, when they were a little younger, first of all, if I didn't park near a cart return, I didn't go because I'm not, going to leave the kids in the car to go a mile away to put a car back. I'm just not going to happen. Especially in a hot car, So what we do is, I'll get the cart, and our first rule is hands on the cart. When we're walking through the parking lot, hands are on the cart. We need to stay together, and it needs to be physically staying together. So it gives them an object, something to hold on, because my son, he does kind of stem a lot when he gets a little anxious, and sometimes he'll jump or he'll do his little hand things, and in the parking lot, that moment is a huge distraction and could easily turn a regular situation into something bad if he's bouncing in the middle of the street or stemming and kind of stops, and I'm not looking because I'm just pushing the car. So hands are on the cart. It keeps his hands active, right? And then coming back to the car, I always see people, they push the car, they have the baby in the front, right? And they have kids kind of just random, loose kids are victims, right? Loose children. Those are your problems, because it doesn't take anything for someone to drive up past you and snatch your child, right? It's happened. Unfortunately, we had a terrible incident that didn't happen to us, but it happened to a friend that was on my daughter's gymnastics team. And they were walking to the parking lot after practice, and some maniac grabbed them and drove off with them. The mother was sexually assaulted and killed, and Thankfully, the girl got away, but someone found her somewhere with no clothes on. So, the parking lot it really just is it's a very unsafe place because a lot of people are not paying attention. And I see that a lot. They'll come back to the car, right, with their cart, and the babies are sitting in the front, but they have their bodies in the car putting groceries in while the baby's still sitting there. And I'm like, the baby is facing an open place, right, where someone, while your head is in the car, can grab your kid and run off with them. Those are the things. Like when we get back to the car, I always go in backwards so that my baby is towards my door, not towards the street, because that reminds me that he needs to get in first. Because we need things that remind us, because our days are so crazy. There's so much going on, So you have to position yourself to remember things. And it doesn't make you a bad mother or father because you make mistakes. But if you constantly put yourself in line to remember, it makes it easier, right? So we go backwards. Once we get to the car, we turn around, make sure that the baby is facing the door. So I know the loose kids go in first as I'm getting him out, and we put him in the car seat next, because groceries can be replaced. So I'm not going to be concerned about shoving our bags and then my kids are just loose in the parking lot. No. And while I was drilling the rules one day into my children, a lady, she's getting in the car and she closed the door. Her little son, I guess he got in the wrong side of the car, so he runs around the car to get into the other door, and this child was no higher than the front end of my truck. And I was like, it takes a split second for someone to back out, and that child would be dead. I'm not trying to be, morbid or anything, but it's the things that you have to think about. People just do that when they're in what they consider a familiar place. We're always in the parking lot. It's just, you get back to your car, you kind of relax. I'm putting my stuff in, getting prepared to sit down, getting the kids in the seatbelt. Your guard is down. But that's when your guard needs to go up, And I remember there's this mall that we used to go to in Huntsville. And in the mornings, we just go, after I dropped my daughter off at gymnastics, we would just go there and walk around, because they have like mile markers in there, which was really cool. So we just walk around. And this was early morning. I'm talking about like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sitting there, we finish walking, and I come back to the car, and I'm taking my time. I'm loading the kids and everything. We're getting in, and you know how you feel somebody looking at you? And it's like, so I turned around, and this guy, he's riding his little bike real slow, and I kind of made eye contact with him because I wanted him to understand that I see you, right? As I'm putting, my kids, thankfully, they were in the truck, and my stroller wasn't. The stuff that I had out, my purse, my stroller was still sitting there, but I put my hand underneath my car seat because I had my stuff under there. Gotta stay, packing with some type of weapon. So I had my hand under there, and I wanted him to see me do that, so he understood that I was prepared for whatever he was bringing. So he kind of stood there. He kind of slowly glanced back a couple times, like he was kind of sizing me up, and then after a while he kept going, and I was like, okay, I'm not coming back here anymore, because clearly, the people are a little sketchy. But, just another reason why we are very vulnerable in a parking lot, especially women with children. We come with the big old label victim on us, because we got tons and tons of distractions going on at different times. We got the kids. We got one of them is crying because she didn't get the candy in the store. Or, the other one has to realize that I had to go back to the bathroom. And there's just so much going on that if you mentally do not have your system in place, you could easily be victimized. And some people don't put stickers on your car that say I have kids, or don't put stickers on your car that I have, my children have autism and things like. For me, I put the stickers on my car because I want the police and fire and EMS to know that my children have autism, in case I'm ever in an emergent situation and my children don't respond neurotypically and nothing bad happens to them. So that's why I do it. That's another safety thing for me, is making sure that people know that that I have children with special needs. But, so all of that being said, just please, take that minute to really assess, your surroundings. Make sure your kids understand that, we have to stay together. We need to stay visible to each other at all times. Like, you need to be able to, without raising your voice, communicate with your kids. There is no hide and go seek in the store, because you got a lot of crazy folk out there hiding and seeking other people's kids. So that is very, very, very important to do. Have a system in place. Watch your surroundings. Be prepared. Have something in the car to defend you. They got really good, stuff at Walmart. If you are in a state that you can't, carry certain weapons, there's other things that you can carry that's legal in your state. So you check in your state, see what's legal for you to be able to carry to protect your kids. But the first level of defense is getting everybody on the same page, and that is safety. We all need to go through the rules, before you leave the car. Okay, so just please be safe out there. Prepping is not always about the apocalypse. Prepping is about your safety on a daily basis. Being prepared is about preparedness. That's what it's about. And that's what I try to teach my kids. And that's what I'm trying to help other people with. Okay? So you guys take care. Have a wonderful day. And I will talk to you in our next video. All right? Bye-bye.